Hey, Seka.
Yo, what's going on? What's up, bud?
I'm re-rolling JP right now. Who should I go for?
Why are you re-rolling JP?
I don't know. I'm just bored. I don't want to play against Valenti. Too toxic.
Yeah, I get it, man. Feels bad. You want to do PvP?
Duh. That's the whole reason I'm playing JP.
Oh, so you want me to make like a tier list and stuff? And I'll help you with the JP stuff?
No, I want your global tier list.
Oh, yeah, I'll put that out like next week because there's there might be a unit coming out next week that'll completely break the meta.
Diamonds!
Yo, what's going on, guys? Sekapoko here, bringing you another 7 Listens Grand Cross video. This will be going over my Japanese version tier list for PvP and giving you examples of what can be good and bad in Japanese PvP and what we've seen be very, very good this week, as well as what we can see going forward to be pretty good. So, guys, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Last thing is, if you are a global player and you're using this tier list as a reference guide in order to get yourself ahead in the game, this may not help you, okay? The reason this tier list may not help you is because it will help you with the units and let you know what units are OP in JP. However, it will not help you with team compositions. The reason it won't help you with team compositions is because the JP meta and the global meta are very, very different. You will have similar teams at different times, but the main issue is which teams will last longer and which teams will be very, very good in top tier. And the reason they are so different is because of unit release order. It's not because the versions are so different, they're not in day and lots of different lots of things, all changes. It's mainly because of release order, and because the perfect example of that is actually Blue Lilia and Valenti. Blue Lilia came out. The release order came out was Blue. I think it was Blue Demon Meliodas, Blue Lilia, maybe like a week or two later, and then over a month later, that came out Valenti. So there's a big time frame where Blue Meliodas was a huge proponent in PvP. And then, after about a month and a half of Valenti coming out, then Red Escanor came out. So there's a huge time gap right here where there is a massive disparity of what people have been using in PvP, and it's going to be very, very different on the global version. So please, if you are a global player watching this video, know that you should take this with a major grain of salt because of that fact. Okay, so let's go over this tier list and talk a little bit about a JP PvP only tier list, okay? Don't fucking at me. Chill, bro. Okay, so again, this is a PvP only tier list. It is not a PvE tier list. It's not going to go over any content that's besides PvP, strictly PvP, and it's going to focus mainly on elite PvP or the geared PvP. I'm not really going to focus on ungeared PvP because meta shifts don't really happen in ungeared PvP as often as they do in geared PvP. And the reason they happen so often is because of the rule sets that change every week. So I'm going to be going over the units that are very, very bad first, and we're going to go up from there. So first off, we have an entire list of trash units, and all of these units are horrible in this current PvP meta. Look how many there are. It's actually obscene how many trash panda units there are. Red Bond, never gonna come back. Slater, never gonna come back. Weinhardt, Gil Thunder, Gila, everybody in that top row, never gonna come back. Everyone in the second row I'm looking at now, never gonna come back to the PvP meta ever. Blue Maternity, I'm never going to come in. Red Fat King, never going to come back in. Like, all of these units are never going to come back to the PvP meta. Maybe Lizhawk? Maybe Blue Lizhawk. Maybe. Like I'll give her, maybe she deserves a little bit of a bump. Maybe, okay? Definitely a kind of small maybe there. I'm on a 20. The reason I'm on a maybe there is because Blue Lizhawk has some good substats, and she's got an Amplify-based ability. The Cleanse is good. The Solidify is good there. But we're talking like 99% no instead of a 99.9% no. So like maybe a little bit better than everyone in this tier list over here. But most of these characters are super incredibly bad in PvP on JP. I don't really think any of these characters will ever see a resurgence in PvP. And if they do, it's because the character's got a rework and it probably, won't be good. Next tier up, we're gonna have the lol Kekw fucking W. I can't believe you tried this and it worked tier. These are characters that are probably, you could run it and it might work, right? But if it did work, it's hilarious. And winning with these characters is just fun. It's not about what's actually meta and good. It's definitely the memes are real. And Green Demon Meliodas is a really funny character because if he ultimates, he can ultimate again and again and again and again and again, as long as the ultimate on the enemy team is level at 5 orbs. So I mean, it's pretty good. But if you win with it, it's really hard to win with it, but it's pretty cool. Green Bond probably never going to come back to the meta, but it's pretty fun to use him sometimes, and he's pretty cool. Green King is really there for just ulti rush teams for memes. It does work like once in a blue moon, and a lot of people have a lot of King cosmetics, so it's a little bit easier. Plus, a lot of people at this point on JP have 6/6 Green King, so it's pretty easy. Demon Meliodas, the red Demon Meliodas, I don't think it's ever going to come back to the meta, but it's fun to use. Have fun. Jillian, Marmus, and Twiggo are all really fun to use at times if you want to give yourself a little bit of an HP bump. They're not really good characters anymore, but they are definitely meme worthy. You can definitely try out some funny HP comps with them. Then we got Blue Liz, the Death Queen, just die and do your thing. Deldry, obviously super memes. If you won with a Deldry on JP right now, it'd actually be pretty legendary to see that. Just watching a Deldry just throw up like some stuff right now on like taunts, HP taunts, all that stuff on characters. That would be fun to watch. Arden, being able to roll people's ultimates back once you come into the room, hilarious. I would love to see that too. I do see some people trying this on JP every so often, like once every like 1,000 games, I'll see someone with a green Meliodas, and like they'll just like totally throw you off, and then they'll win, and they'll be like, bitch. But like it never works. Like 99% of the time. If you have the right team, it never works. Then we got the Blue Fraudrin. He's another person that's just like the Blue Liz. Definitely not a good character, but definitely a fun character to use at times. I used him for like an entire week, and I was like 60-70% win rate with Blue Fraudrin until people caught on, and then I was like, okay, I can't use him anymore. Feels bad. But he's a Death King, just like Liz. It's pretty fun. Arthur. If you do have a high-level Arthur and you have a U-Augur for Arthur, it can actually work okay, but it's definitely not a great character. It has attack seal on him, and it has good substats, good overall stats, just not the best unit, and you have to get really high ult gauge to him for it to work well. So I'm not sure if I would classify him as amazing. And there's better units out there right now. Galland, I have seen people use this character in the backline for mono red team just for extra damage because it's its passive. Lowering defense by 30%. That's cool. I personally used Death Pierce like a week ago and 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It was so much fun. When in the middle of crit season, it was actually really fun to use him, and it was working really well. I would not recommend it to anyone now that crit season's over, but it's pretty fun. And then Lizhawk I was actually using for about 2 or 3 days, and I tried her again in PvP, and I was winning like 60-70% of the time with a Pierce team. So it's still relevant-ish, but not like the best in the world. Next tier is the might be good later tier, and these are characters that got released that have good substats, that have good overall stats, but they are either in the meta at one point or not in the meta point, and they could use a team, they could work around different things, but they're missing some other character that's really gonna bring out their potential. And the first one there is Roxy. Roxy is honestly a very strong character. I've used her on a lot of content right now on JP. I'm currently farming with her right now. She's super fun, and she does tons of damage, but her main issue is that attack seals do hurt her, but not as much, and the explosion ability that she has doesn't deal enough damage. So she needs to have some kind of modifier that makes it, or some kind of passive on your team that really makes it so that the explosions will do either more damage or can't be removed. When they do remove, they even more damage or whatever. There has to be some kind of modifier that prevents cleanses that would make explosions insanely good. And if that did come out, I could see that happening. Easton, I have a 6/6 Easton on JP, and honestly, I've tried her many times in PvP. She's only good if she crits on her ulti, and her crit chance is actually really, really low. And even with Death Pierce, it's extremely hard to crit with Easton. So I'm not thinking that Easton would be the best character in the world to bring out for this meta or for any meta. Green Monspeed is a really interesting character. He has a very good passive. He has a really strong commandment, and the issue with him is that he's a green character and it was a mono red meta, but now, and seeing how LV Melly is a DPS meta, you can't really use him in this meta right now. But if we did go to shift to like a blue meta, or we shifted around so that blue could be like a bit really popular thing, and LV Melee wasn't in the meta as much as a DPS unit, then he might be a little bit better. His actual passive for ignite damage does some significant damage. I was watching a gearless PvP against myself on certain teams that I was playing in, and that was actually very, very strong. And his ultimate ability at 6 out of 6 ultimate would be okay as well, providing those ignite stacks, but not really the best unit in the world, I would have to say. He's definitely okay, and his ultimate is not insane either, so he doesn't do crazy damage on that, but he could be good on certain teams. So I could definitely see some play with him in the future with card deletion and why that would be good, but I don't know if I would say he's the best, and he might have play. Blue Melascula has an interesting kit, and it scales really well because she gets base stats based on how many ulti orbs everyone has in the field, and that means that she can get the 30% extra base stats from everybody's ultimate orbs. She has an okay kit as far as abilities go, but there's nothing really that makes her insane, and her ultimate ability is so-so. I wouldn't say it's amazing, it's definitely so-so. Blue Nunchuck Bond, I used it. And it was actually pretty good. I was really surprised. I was using Blue Nunchuck Bond for a week straight with Zeldris, and it was actually really good. And I was having so much fun. I can tell you this though, once Liz came to the meta, nope. He's out. And he was good until Liz came in. And once Liz came in, I was like, I can't use him anymore because people can revive, and that totally kills my whole strategy with Bond. But if there was a way to use him again, I believe he could come back. His passive's really strong, be able to have that extra defense. He's really good overall, but he's definitely not a meta character, and he's definitely fun to use. And I would have put him in the next tier, but he's okay. Blue Giant Deanne right now is very mediocre because she's been entirely replaced as what her whole kit was based around by Red Lost Vein Meliodas, and he's just a better version of what she was doing. An area effect attack and a good single target attack, but Lost Vein Meliodas can rush his ultimate and does more core damage to enemies on the field. There's not a lot of buffs on the enemy team, so Rupture is not as good as his charge ability, being able to go through defense. Overall, she's a good unit and might see some play in this Liz meta right now with lots and lots of buffs on enemy teams, but I'm not quite certain that's going to be a huge thing. I haven't seen anybody try it yet, and I personally don't have a high enough Deanne abilities for ultimates or anything to even try it, so I don't know. Might work, but we'll see. Then we also got a Green Lilia, and Green Lilia has seen some play in and out of the meta. Not a ton, but a lot of players have her at 6/6, so you can use her. And I have seen her off and on during certain weeks, just not nearly as much as some other characters. And it does work sometimes, but it doesn't work all the time. Next tier on this tier list is going to be sometimes You're Godly, when I forgot the spacebar. First up, we got Helbram. Helbram is sometimes still good. And one of the units that lasted a very long time is Helbram, and I was very surprised about Helbram lasting as long as he did. But seeing how he has just a base stats modifier for amount of people on the field, it's really, really good. Zeldris was good in Crit Week. I don't know if he's going to be good this week. I'm actually curious. I do want to try him this week in PvP with the increased damage modifiers. He's actually a very, very interesting unit to use, and he's good sometimes, not good other times. Then we got the new Red Gloxinia. Red Gloxinia is a very good unit in PvP, but there are some major issues with his kit, and he does incredible healing. He has the ability to lock out enemy high ranker cards, so it's a very good Lost Vein Meliodas kind of counter style thing. And if you're fighting a lot of teams with no cleanse, that's actually very, very strong. And you're fighting a lot of Gother teams, it's very strong. But anybody who has a rank 1 cleanse immediately just gets it off. But seeing how people use rank ups on their king a lot of the time early on, it's a little bit trickier. So I'm very curious to see if Gloxinia actually does see some play in this meta, or won't see any play at all. I'm very, very curious to see what will come of it. He does have a really strong heal as well, so it's good. Sometimes Hauser, the red Hauser that we have, is actually good in PvP. Some people still use him. It's very hit and miss. I don't really see this often, but I do see it more often than you would think. It's just really surprising. Sometimes I'll see a Hauser Pierce comp with Blue DMLA just randomly in PvP, and I'm just thrown off because I'm like, why is Hauser here? Why did you bring Hauser? Why didn't you bring Escanor or somebody else? It's really rare to see, but when you do see it, it's massive. The damage is huge. And not a lot of people do have Hauser's weapon on JP, so it's a lot more rare, but when you do see it, it's deadly as fuck. So this is the only like questionable thing I put it in the sometimes or godly tier, and the rest of these units I see all the time. Then we got Red Arthur. This is really good for the Red Escanor meta or any kind of buffing meta. Really good there. Sometimes it's good, most of the time not, but sometimes it's good. I definitely have to say it's a hit and miss character for sure. Then we got Red Merlin. On weeks where we have lots of ult rush, or there's a lot of people or there's no PvP rules or less damage going on, Red Merlin's a really cool character to bring in. And there's a lot of people on the Japanese version that use a 6 out of 6 Red Merlin with HP and defense gear that just comes in randomly and freezes people and is super toxic. It is still a very, very strong character to use. It's probably one of the longest lasting units in PvP, and actually was not in PvP at all for a very long time, but just recently came back. And it's very surprising to see a lot more of now. And there was like entire weeks where I was seeing Red Merlin constantly, and it's a very interesting unit to see in PvP. But in HP defense, Red Merlin is a very, very strong unit. You should, if you're looking to try it out, and you're looking for a unit that has some longevity on JP, then it's a really interesting unit that had a lot of longevity. And she's got UR gear. Her stats gone through the roof, so it's actually cool to see a little bit more. Then we got Green Escanor. Some weeks he's really good, some weeks he's really bad. Right now he's really good against the new Blue Elizabeth, and I would have to say he's a top tier DPS unit against him. I actually experienced it, and oh my fucking god, it was scary. He like literally two-shot my Blue Liz. And I was like, whoa, buddy, dial it back. It's because he's getting 30% extra damage on his hits, and he like literally dropped over 130,000 damage on me in 2 hits. I was like, bruh. It was nutty. It was really nutty. Green Escanor is nutty. Then we got Red Derriere. I'd have to say sometimes she's really strong. It really depends on the PvP week. Like sometimes ult rushing is really good, and sometimes it's not. If ult rushing is on a really good week, she's really good. She kind of is going to fall off the meta, might be a little bit more now that Blue Liz is a thing. But if Blue Liz gets like heavily countered one week and we're not seeing as many Blue Lizes because say her passive abilities don't work or stuns don't work, I could definitely see Derry coming back into the mix a little bit more, but right now I'm not seeing a ton of her, and I don't want to take her out of the running just yet. Then we got Green Estarossa, who was really good last week. God, that was toxic. I hated that. There were so many people using Green Estarossa with an HP and defense set in top tier PvP. It was actually disgusting because how strong it was last week because he got that extra resistance rate. But now he's back to being a trash can, and there's no one who's going to be using him constantly in PvP in top 100 in my knowledge. But he might be really good. We'll see. Maybe. But every day, every person that I've seen using Estarossa now is getting instantly destroyed by LV Melee. So Green Estarossa probably not good this week. It might be good another week, and most weeks he's not great, but he was good like last week for that stupid resistance buff for stances. Then we got Green Gil Thunder. Really interesting that sometimes he's still usable, and it's very surprising. As a subunit, you don't really see a ton of Green Gil Thunder still, but like sometimes you do see him because sometimes you still see Valenti just come back into the mix randomly. And Valenti isn't really a meta unit anymore. She's kind of like fallen out of meta for JP because of it. The primary DPS unit for JP is a red unit, and it's Lost Vein Meliodas, and he has tons of damage. But I did use her like 2 different weeks, a couple weeks ago, and it's still a viable unit. And I was actually when I started using her with some other teams, Lost Vein Meliodas with her is also a viable team. I did see a lot of people using that. I don't know if I'd see that in top 100, but I definitely see it in like Challenger PvP. You could definitely see it there. If you try to push for top 100, these units, they could work. I'm not saying they will work, but they could. Like, they have potential. Blue Demon Meliodas has kind of fallen almost entirely out of the meta. He does have viability right now this week, so if you're looking to use Blue Demon Meliodas again, he's going to be really good this week because Pierce AoE teams will do very, very well this week because of the 30% increase in damage. If there's going to be a lot of Lost Vein Meliodases and Go-Throughs out there, so that might work really well. Then we got Red Melascula. Honestly, I fought this team last week that was Green Estarossa and Red Melascula, and there was no way around the team. I could not think of one because of how strong the Estarossa counter was. And there was no way around it. Like, Melascula would just revive Estarossa, and he'd just be sitting there at full HP with revive, and he's like, what's up? And, like, it was a super toxic team last week. But I don't think it's going to work all the time. I think sometimes it'll work, though. I think if you could pair Red Nolascula with other units, and it's a single target week, and no one's using lots of area effect damage, then yeah, I could see that working, sure. And I could see it even working even further with the new Blue Liz in the mix. I mean, there's tons of revive comps that could work with Red Nolascula. She's really annoying. Next up, we got Shin. And Shin is one of those characters that I can definitely see being really good some weeks. And I'm not sure if I'm going to see that this week. I'm not sure if I'm going to see it next week. But he's definitely an interesting unit. And I did see some play with him. And he is a monster at times. Like, there's some times where he's an absolute fucking legend. And he totally brings this whole level of fuck, this sucks to the enemy team. But a lot of the time, he's weak. And you can counterplay him. Especially with the new Blue Liz being meta right now. I don't know if he's going to be super meta, because you can't break the Liz shield with his first ability. There's no way you do the damage on every unit on the field. You can maybe do it to the Liz, but you can't break every unit. And you can't, if you can't apply a debuff to the enemy team, Shin is not as good. It's really not. So I'd have to say that he's definitely earns his place here. Got the meta is meta for a reason tier, and these are the characters that are meta and have been meta for a while, and will probably stay meta for a while. And these are all units that most players can agree on. They're in a lot of different teams, and they're almost in one team every single week, and they're really good. The only unit that we don't see a lot of is Green Matrona Diane, and that's really a top 100 unit. And they're really, really good in top 100. But many people don't use Green Matrona Diane because they haven't built her out, and they haven't had a lot of dupes of her, or they just don't feel comfortable building out a UR Diane. And it's a meta character. I do see it probably one every 50 matches or so, or 40 matches, I'd say, of Green Mediterranean. And it is a meta unit for sure. It's been a meta unit for a while. I'm not sure. I don't think it's a whale unit. I think you could do really well with this character just being with a normal UR set, and you don't actually need a lot of ultimate levels with this character to do really well. So I'm assuming that you could do pretty well with just a normal UR set. So if you had focused on a DN in the past and you had done a UR DN, I mean, that could work. I don't think I would consider her a whale unit. Definitely an interesting unit, though. Red Escanor has been a meta unit for a while. He's probably going to stay a meta unit. He comes in and out of the weeks depending on how strong he is that week, and he's always good. Then we got Red Gother, always a meta unit, super strong. His rank ups, attack seals, ability, the pressure from him, ult rollback, everything you need on a unit. Same with Lilia, the healing, the pressure, the passive, everything that you need in the units. Those two units are godly. They stay in the meta for a very long time. Green Derriere is a fucking massive meta unit right now. She is stupid annoying. One of the things that you always try to do on the Japanese version is ulti rush, and the two units in the game right now that prevent a lot of ulti rush teams, if they go second or first, is Green Derriere and Zeldris. Those are the two units that stop a lot of ulti rush teams in their tracks because they have the ability to stop people from move card ulting. So if you can't move a card and rush an ulti, this unit's really good for that. Both of these units are really good. Zeldris and Derriere are strong because their passives or commandments prevent enemies from using merges or moves to increase their ultimate gauge. So it's a super, super nice unit for that. Green Derriere's passive, amazing, and her commandment's also really good if you don't have a commandment on the field. It actually prevents range damage and reduces it, I believe, by 35%. So it also reduces a lot of incoming damage from enemies, so that's a very, very strong thing. And they've also recently added a feature to see which units are ranged in melee in PvP, and it's really cool to watch to see like which ultimates are, which character has a lot of range abilities, ultimate abilities that are ranged, all that stuff. Then we got Green Merlin. She's always going to be meta. Her ability to ulti rush is really good, and it's always a good strategy to use ulti rush. She may not be in a frontline unit a lot of the time because of Red Lost by Meliodas, but she is still a meta unit. Blue King is still a meta unit in the frontline. Very strong unit to have in your frontline for cleanse, petrifies. His ultimate is still godly. It's amazing. Red King, though, is still a meta unit in the backline, just like Merlin is, to prevent Pierce comps, provides extra tankiness, and even if you're not preventing a Pierce comp, the Red King, preventing lots of Pierce damage from the enemies, does prevent a lot of incoming damage. Plus, he has a very strong overall presence when he comes into the field if he gets a lot of ultimate gauge right away. So a Red King at 6/6 in top tier PvP does monstrous damage. He does the same amount of damage as the Blue King, so super, super strong unit. Definitely a great unit to build out if you're looking to do it in general. All right. Next, we have the whale only god tier, and this is a distinction I wanted to make from other characters, other tier lists, is that these characters are really, really good, but only if you get a lot of dupes.
And the reason I know this, and I played Liz right now for like almost a week. Every single Liz that has like a 1-6 or a 2-6 or a 3-6 ulti, I shit on those dudes like hard. Really, really fucking hard. If you don't have like a really high level ulti on Liz, it's incredible how bad you shit on these Liz's. It's awesome. Liz has a reflect ulti, a heal ulti, and she's stupid good. And Green Fraudrin is no exception either. Both of these characters are literally some of the best units in the game, but only if you go big fucking whaling on these characters. If you don't go big whaling on these characters, they are not good. They're okay at best. They are definitely like sometimes you're good tier. They go down 2 tiers in the tier list because if you don't wail on these characters, they just they're okay. I mean, they're definitely okay. Not good. You know. Blue Elizabeth has a great passive, great stats. Everything about her is good. I think she's the second best unit in the game for sure. But if you're not wailing on this unit, you are, wow, she is a little bit iffy. I've definitely seen a lot of Blue Lizzes in the last week, and I have been like wrecking people that do not have high levels on their ulti. When I hit someone with a Blue Liz ulti up and I look at her ulti level, it's like 2-6. I literally just go and just walk through them, and it's actually disgusting how well you can play against a Liz if she has a low ulti level. But if she has a high ulti level, she's insanely difficult to play against. Same with Green Fraudrin. Now, Green Fraudrin is probably the 3rd best unit in the game. And the reason I say he's the 3rd best unit is because of his fucking passive. It's disgusting. His passive ability, if you have an HP and defense Fraudrin, and that Fraudrin out CCs anyone on your team, they cannot get ultimates for 2 turns. They're sitting there with literally no ultimate ability for 2 turns. And he has a ridiculously high amount of combat class. So you can just shit on everyone with like a Lost Vein Meliodas, or you can shit on everybody. He provides so much pressure that you just sit there shitting on people. And it's disgusting. He is the Omega Whale character. And he was the Omega Whale character before everybody else. And his overall kit is the exact same, by the way. He has the exact same kit as Green SSR Gotcha Bond. Like, except for one of his builds. One of his builds is like an AoE Purify, which is really, really good right now against the Liz, too. Very, very good against the Liz. Because you basically cleanse all buffs on the enemy team, and that's, like, stupid strong. It's disgusting how good Fraudrin is if you get him built out. Makes him really interesting too is that he has an extort ability that you can use on one character for 1 turn. So if you want to just like throw up a quick extort on say a Lost Vein Meliodas and just reduces damage by 20%, so your whole team's a little bit tankier because you take a lot less damage, that's good too. Also has this really, really nice thing where he has 5% crit chance. So he never crits, and it's awesome because he literally never crits. Incredible. So, yeah, love him. So, the reason he never crits and that's good is because you crit Lost Vein Meliodas and you're fucked. Anyways, of course, the #1 unit in the game is Lost Vein Meliodas. He's good for everyone. There's no one out there that can't benefit from a 1-6 Lost Vein Meliodas. There's no one that can't benefit from a 2-6, 3-6 Lost Vein Meliodas. He's very, very good at lower ultimate levels. He's not as good No, who am I kidding? He's the best unit in the game. He's literally the best. There's no one else that's better. He's stupid. I hate him so much. He's so much better than everyone else. It's disgusting. Like, he shits on everyone except for Liz and Fraudrin. And those are like, you have to wallet those units. If you don't wallet those units, they're not that good. LV Melly is just stupid. And he's good for everyone at lowest ultimate level. He's so good that when he came out, he was literally the most disgusting unit you could ever think of. And they still have not found a full counter for him because he's so strong. And using him on any team is just really annoying. I'd say the best 3 units in the game are all obviously Fraudrin, Liz, and Meliodas. But only if you're a whale. And if you're not a whale, the best units for you are going to be Lost Van Meliodas and everybody who's in the meta tier. All of those units are much easier to build out, don't really require 6 out of 6 ultimate all the time, or have a very easy to obtain 6 out of 6 ulti, and many banners that contain them, or they're coin shop units and you just buy the dupes for the coin shop units, and they're meta for a reason. So again, if you are if you're a free-to-play player or a budget player, these are the unit. This will help you, figure out exactly what you should be focusing on, and they might be good in the future. All right, guys, my name's Sekapoko. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did enjoy the video, you wanted to have more tier lists like this, and you want to hear more of this, we have a meme tier list that I am working out, of course. It's full of memes. And that one might be out in the next month or so. We'll see. Yeah, get busy. If you guys do like the video, of course, like the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you have questions about the video, or if you want placements you want me to change around, or you have different comments, questions, concerns about different units that you think that I should have added in the tier list, please let me know in the comment section, because though I do read every comment when I get a video, and when people who actually watch the video to the very end leave a comment, I'm very happy to answer your question, because those are usually intelligent questions that have lots of thought process in them, and people who have not, just like watched 2 minutes of a video and said, fuck that, I know everything. So thank you guys for watching the entire video. Again, like and subscribe, all the fun stuff. Have a great day, guys. Bye.